India is a land of countless stories, cultures, and traditions. But among these, there is one story that is rarely told, a story of faith, sacrifice, and an unexpected connection between two worlds. This is the story of the Husseini Brahmins, a unique community in India whose history is deeply tied to the tragedy of Karbala and Hussein radiyallahu anhu, the beloved grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. In the year 680 AD, a group of Hindu Brahmins from India traveled to the deserts of Karbala in present-day Iraq. They fought and sacrificed their lives for Imam Hussain. These brave warriors became known as the Husseini Brahmins. But how did a Hindu Brahmin community become linked to one of the most significant events in Islamic history? Was there any family relationship between Rahab Sid-Dat, the leader of the Brahmins, and Imam Hussain? What happened to the descendants of these warriors, and how do they honor their history today? Join us as we explore this forgotten story of courage, sacrifice, and unity. The Husseini Brahmins, also known as Mohyal Rajput Brahmins, were a warrior class of Brahmins primarily found in Punjab, Sindh, and parts of North India. Unlike other Brahmins, who were known as priests and scholars, Mohyal Brahmins had a long history of serving as warriors and protectors of justice. They were known for their martial arts, courage, and loyalty, qualities that made them stand out among the Brahmin community. But what makes them truly special is their historical connection with Imam Hussain and the tragic Battle of Karbala in 680 AD. The connection goes back even further to a noble and brave warrior from Mohyal Brahmins named Rahab Sid-Dat, who lived in Lahore, now in Pakistan, around the 7th century. Rahab Sid-Dat was a devout and righteous leader who believed in justice and truth. Lahore, even in the 7th century, was a bustling hub of trade and culture. Ideas, stories, and beliefs traveled along these routes, connecting distant lands. There were trade relations between Arabs and Indians. It is possible that Rahab Dutta, like the Brahmins, had heard about Imam Hussain, the grandson of Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, who was leading a movement against the tyranny of Yazid, the ruler of the Umayyad Caliphate. Inspired by Hussein's stand for justice, Rahab decided to support him. Some historians say Imam Hussein's wife, Shaharbano, a princess of Persia, was the sister of a queen of a northern empire in India. For this familial connection, Imam Hussein's eldest son, Zainul Abidin radiyallahu anhu, wrote a letter to the emperor of northern India, seeking assistance in their fight against Yazid's forces. The king, allegedly, dispatched an army to Iraq to assist. Historical accounts including Raj Kumar Asthana's book Ancient India validate this fact. The history of Karbala is closely interwoven with the sacrifices made by Imam Hussain and his followers. After the martyrdom of Imam Hassan radiyallahu anhu, his younger brother Imam Hussain found himself isolated in Medina as he refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid, the corrupt and sinful ruler of the time, whose ways were unjust and against the teachings of Islam. When the people of Kufa sought his help but later betrayed him, Imam Hussain sent his cousin, Muslim bin Aqil radiyallahu anhu, to assess the situation, only for him to be martyred by Yazid's forces. Undeterred, Imam Hussain and his family, along with a small group of followers, decided to head to Kufa. However, they were surrounded by a massive army sent by Yazid in the desert of Karbala in present-day Iraq. Despite the dreadful situation, Imam Hussain steadfastly refused to pledge allegiance to Yazid and valiantly fought against his oppressive rule, with only 72 loyal companions, including his family and friends. The situation was dire, there was no water, and they were heavily outnumbered. The desert of Karbala became a witness to one of the most tragic yet inspiring events in history. Among Hussein's companions were not just Arabs, but people from different lands and faiths. They had come to Karbala because they believed in Hussein's message of standing up against tyranny, no matter the cost. And it was here, in this desert, that a group of Indian Brahmins would write their names in the annals of history. Far away from Karbala, in the lush plains of India, Rahab Sid-Dat of Mohyal Rajput Brahmin, his sons along with their troops started journey to Karbala to stand with Imam Hussain. Leaving behind their families and homes, these Brahmins embarked on a long and challenging journey. They traveled thousands of miles, crossing rivers, mountains, and deserts, driven by their belief in Hussein's cause. By the time Rahab and his warriors arrived in Karbala, Imam Hussain and his family were in a horrible situation. They had been cut off from water for days, surrounded by thousands of Yazid soldiers, and had no escape. As the Battle of Karbala raged on, Rahab Sid-Dat, his 7 sons and their warriors stood on the battlefield, ready to fight alongside Imam Hussein's companions. One by one, each of his sons entered the battlefield, fighting fiercely against the massive army of Yazid. Despite their extraordinary bravery, they were heavily outnumbered. One by one they fell. Rahab watched in grief as all 7 of his sons were martyred, sacrificing their lives for Hussein's cause. Even after losing his sons, Rahab did not retreat. With his sword in hand, he charged forward, fighting with all his might, determined to stand with Hussein until the very end. However, the battle was brutal. One by one, the supporters of Hussein were martyred, including his brothers, sons, and closest friends. In the end, Imam Hussein himself was killed in the most tragic manner. His head was severed and taken to Yazid, while his family members, including women and children, were taken captive. Rahab was the only survivor of the battle who went from Kufa to Afghanistan and from there back to India. Although they were defeated, Rahab's sacrifice and that of his sons and warriors became a legendary act of bravery and devotion. It showed that their bond with Hussein was more than just loyalty. It was a willingness to give everything, even family, for the sake of truth and justice. After the battle, the descendants of Rahab Sid-Dat and the other Mohyal warriors became known as Husseini Brahmins, a title that signifies their loyalty to Imam Hussein. Unlike other Brahmins, they proudly associated themselves with a Muslim leader, showing a unity that goes beyond religious boundaries. Even today, Husseini Brahmins consider Imam Hussein their spiritual ancestor. The descendants of Rahab Sid-Dat take pride in their dual heritage, both Hindu and Husseini. The courage of the Husseini Brahmins did not end in Karbala. For centuries, they remained warriors and defenders of justice. Many Husseini Brahmins served in the armies of Hindu kings, protecting their lands from invaders. Some held high positions in the Mughal Empire, continuing their tradition of loyalty and leadership. They played a significant role in India's struggle for independence against the British. Today, Husseini Brahmins are a small but respected community in India and Pakistan. They mostly live in Punjab of India and Pakistan, Delhi of India, and Sindh of Pakistan. Though modern life has changed their way of living, many still honor their history by participating in Muharram processions, organizing charity events in Imam Hussein's name, and keeping their family traditions of bravery and justice alive. Many Husseini Brahmins bear a mark on their throats. This mark is often seen as a divine reminder of the day Imam Hussein himself was brutally killed, his throat slit by the army of Yazid. Some members of the Husseini Brahmin community believe that this mark is a hereditary trait, passed down as a sign of their ancestral connection to Karbala. While the exact details of Rahab Dutta's connection to Hussein ibn Ali may remain shrouded in mystery, their bond was undoubtedly one of shared values and mutual respect. Rahab Dutta's journey from Lahore to Karbala is a testament to the universal appeal of Hussein's message and the power of standing together for what is right. If you found this story fascinating, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more incredible stories.